Hey everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Ask Kate with the lovely Kate Deering, author of How to Heal Your Metabolism, a book that we sell, and a lot of you have probably read her book, and it's a great book because it really, I think, breaks it down in simpler terms. It's very easy to understand. It's a really good summary, I think. So if you haven't read it, definitely grab it. We sell it on our website if you're in Australia, or you can order it off Amazon. Hey, Amazon.
Only if you're in United States or in UK. So Amazon has to get it from you, or you can Kindle it from Amazon.
Okay, cool. And so today we're going to talk, often we talk about metabolism, but the difference between a stressed metabolism and a healthy, well-functioning metabolism, and why it's so important to have a healthy and well-functioning metabolism. And I think, when a lot of women come to us, they are just so focused on, I need to lose weight quickly. I need to lose weight quickly. And this really sets you up long-term with health issues. And you'll end up going around in circles like I did.
Right. We all did it.
Yeah. And building it, I think too, like a lot of women, they just, because they're so conditioned to the 12-week challenge or the 6-week challenge or something, that's going to fix all their issues and build this great body, but you just can't do it in 12 weeks, especially if you're old. And like most women that come to us are in their 30s or 40s, not old, but you know what I mean? Like in your 20s. Right. I think when you've done all this damage for a long period of time, it's going to take you time to rebuild it. So can you just actually, Kate, just describe to people, what is metabolism? Like, what is it?
Well, the metabolism is the sum of every metabolic process that's going on in your body. So that includes everything that requires energy: your brain, your muscular system, your digestion, your hormones, so your hormonal system, your sex drive, respiration, everything that you can think of, your detoxification is run by energy. That's how things work. So the sum of all those processes together basically equals your metabolism. So it's the energy of what you're producing, right, through the day. And then, of course, you have a resting metabolism, is basically without movement or exercise. So basically what your body needs to function through the day at a minimal level to keep you alive and functioning. And then there's activity that you can put into there, whether it's just daily activity or exercise, that would basically utilize more calories and more energy, that it makes your metabolism have to work harder, but done improperly can start having other adaptations that can create other functions of your body to work slower while you're exerting more stress upon the system to do other activities. For example, if you are someone who utilizes exercise as a form of weight loss and you are doing chronic levels of cardiovascular exercise, which is a stress upon the system, what we find happens is that the body starts having adaptations because it knows it's going to be utilizing all this energy to go run for hours every day. So what essentially starts happening is that your hormonal system might not start working as well, or your digestive system might, or other parts of your body start slowing down. They don't get the energy they need solely because they know they have to give your cardiovascular system and the muscles a lot more energy to do all these other functions. So essentially, yes, you may be burning the same amount of calories through the day or even more doing all this exercise, but for the rest of the time you're not exercising, we'll say that's your basal metabolic rate, or your resting metabolic. God, I'm like, how's it? It is actually slower because you've had adaptations, right, to help you utilize energies when you need it. So that's what we say is more of that stress metabolism is the one that's driving you through stress hormones, right? Meaning a stress metabolism and a healthy metabolism both can burn a ton of calories, right? Like people that exercise a lot can utilize and burn a ton of calories, but it's usually done with efforts of high cortisol, high adrenaline. All of those things are utilized and high to burn calories so that your body can continue to run. When you have the elevated stress hormones, what you'll end up doing though is burning a percentage of muscle tissue. You also will burn fat tissue under activity, but you're also going to be starting to become more catabolic in that kind of metabolic rate, versus a healthy metabolism will utilize a lot of calories, but that's also the metabolism that becomes very anabolic. So that's where you would build muscle versus break it down. That's where you would have high functioning, your libido's running well, you have, good hormonal function, digestion, all these other things are happening for you that is helping you utilize a lot of calories versus just having to go out and exercise or being completely stressed out all day long.
I think too, like I'll often say to women, because I used to be like this, is that I would think, oh, like I've got to do exercise to burn energy, instead of going, well, how can I build my resting metabolic rate so that I can just burn more energy doing nothing? So,
Right.
like before I would maintain I'm probably leaner now. I'm bigger and I have more muscle, but
Right.
I'm leaner than I was, and I can eat, 2,400 calories plus, strength train 3 days a week, do no cardio, and maintain my body composition doing much, much less, which, it's sort of, when you first start, you're so conditioned to, I've got to do cardio, I've got to train to burn calories, but it's like, build the foundation, build the base, because then you can just, and also too, I think we talked about this in another one, is that another thing that we did that, now if I have a week off training, or if I get sick and I don't train, I can still eat the same amount of food and I don't stack on the weight.
Right. And I think, and I had that same mentality. I always thought as exercise as a way to burn calories. I have to burn calories. I ate this much today. I need to burn this much to either maintain, or because psychologically I have to feel better, or I'm going to gain weight if I don't do that. And quite honestly, when you're in that stress metabolism, you will gain weight if you don't chronically continue to exercise, because you're using it as a way to burn your energy, not your body. Your foundation has now created more efficiency. So it's actually been slower. And that's when you're going to start seeing the people with PMS and sleeping disorders and hard time gaining muscle tissue. I mean, I have conversations with people that are trying, they want to build a metabolism and want to build a foundation, but then they go out and do all this, all this activity, cardio, on an empty stomach with no fuel. And then they wonder why I can't build any muscle. And I'm like, because you weight train, and then you wake up and then you do a ton of cardio with no fuel in you. I go, what do you think your body is utilizing to fuel your system?
Yeah.
And, they're like, fat. I'm like, partially, but when your body is under activity, it wants to use glucose primarily. So if you don't have enough stored, or you don't have enough consumed, it's going to turn your muscle tissue into sugar so it can utilize it as energy. So if you keep doing that, I go and work out, I try to build muscle, then I get up the next day doing a ton of cardio on an empty stomach, I burn it all off. You're just going to go into this repetitive cycle, and you're never going to make any gains, right? And then you're like, why am I not gaining any muscle? And I'm like, okay, again, you're repeating. And so for those kind of people, it's like, stop doing all this cardio. Or at least if you're going to, you need to fuel up and have energy to get through that workout. Because again, we don't want to use exercise as a form of a fat burning activity. That's not what it's there to utilize. And we've been advertised that it's worked for short-term kind of, weight loss if we push it, but all that does is push us into a deeper stress metabolism. But exercise should never be used as a form to burn fat, other than creating a stronger foundation, adding more muscle tissue. Because when you have healthy muscle tissue, it releases higher levels of testosterone. But it utilizes fat as fuel in the resting state. So here you are, you work out way less, as I do, and you probably sleep much better. So at those point in time, that's where your body is utilizing fat as fuel, so that you're going to get leaner without you having to go out there and run off that fat.
And like, because I was just thinking, why is it that women are so conditioned to think this? Because everything's marketed. Yeah, it's just, it's everywhere, right?
Marketed that.
Yeah. Like if people say to me, oh yeah, but Kitty, you guys, it's not like throwing stones at other people, but just, I've done every diet out there. I've done every program just about. And I think so many of them are just different ways to package up low calorie, low carb. That's it. And they call it keto, or they call it, whatever the next challenge is, or, the next weight loss diet, but it's just low calories.
It is. And what we have to understand, that most of us started dieting in our either teens, like I did, or in our 20s. Well, at those points, we actually still had a healthy metabolism. So you could do a bunch of cardio and lose weight. I mean, it worked pretty well. So when you're going from, 90% running metabolism and you start doing all that stuff, you will get the effects of weight loss. If you right now started doing a ton of cardio, you would drop weight like that, like fall off of you, no problem. You probably wouldn't have to do a ton, but it would be very effective. Yet again, if not done properly and not fueled properly, it's going to start creating efficiency in your body. And usually what we combine with tons of cardio is a restrictive low calorie diet, like you said. So that combo creates so we're going to do a lot more things to our body. So we're going to create more of an energy need, but we're going to give it less fuel, thinking all our body is going to do is eat this fat off. But that would be great if that happened, but that's physiologically doesn't happen. That's not how your body works. It's not the protective way it works. It works that way to a certain degree, but along the way, it creates adaptations that create a slower metabolism, that create efficiency, so that long-term dieting is going to eventually show up as you can eat very little calories and you won't, you'll maintain your weight on very little calories and exercise. And I just did a post just today, kind of referencing one of Dr. Peace's messages, and it said, they studied women that said that they could, that they could not lose weight on a 1,700 calorie diet. And what they found that some of these women who've been dieting to excess could eat 700 calories and maintain their body weight, which is insane. Because if I ate 700 calories, I'd starve to death.
Yeah.
And I would be a twin.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. But some women have conditioned themselves. And when I used to eat 1,200 calories, I would do that religiously until I would binge. Like we've had that conversation before. But, when you get to that state of efficiency, and that's when I would work out 2 hours a day and eating 1,200 calories diets. And it was insane, and I was way puffier, and had more body fat, because I just was on that treadmill of stressed metabolism, but again, when you're in your 20s, you don't see a lot of the negative effects, until later on. And when you hit your 30s and 40s, that's when you really start seeing what's going on with your body. And that's when really bad PMS or infertility or constipation or hair loss or all of these other things start happening because you've been stressing the crap out of your body for so long.
Yeah. And you think about, like, a lot of the women that come into our program will say that, every year that they do these diets, they actually get a bit fatter. So they lose the weight and then they put it back on, and then they put on a bit more. So like 5 kilos and it's 12, 15, like, and over the course of how many years, they're like 20 kilos bigger than they were. And I think, one of the things that I see so much, and it's just constantly trying to recondition women's, because it's the mindset. It's so hard to wrap your head around that you have to do this. This is a long game. And I see so many women, they'll come in, they'll do well, they'll get some results, but then they'll hit a little roadblock and, they revert back to the old ways. Like, I've got to drink some alcohol to, and I used to do the same thing, like to cope with stress, or I feel shit, something's happened, I'm going to go eat McDonald's. And it's just trying to get them then to not give up when that happens and to go, okay, cool. Like, I've been doing what I'm doing for 40 years. I need to understand that I'm probably going to revert back to my old ways in this journey, however long it is, until I get to the point like where you are and I am now, and, our coaches are, is that I don't binge eat anymore. I'll have a drink every now and then, but I don't, when I'm stressed or shit happens, I don't go and binge eat on McDonald's or have alcohol. So, but I think trying to get them to understand that, it's going to take you probably at least 12 months of reconditioning, like it takes a long time.